Hi everyone, this is Hui Sue with Sue Crafty, and today I am going to go over the instructions on how to make this card using the Designer Series paper from Stampin' Up. So we are going to go ahead and get started. You should have an envelope, and inside your envelope you should have a lot of little pieces. We have glue dots that's going to be used later on. We have a whole bunch of flags that are double-sided with patterns. We have all of our cool letterings. And then we also have a piece of paper on the outside and a smaller piece of paper and a frame. So we're going to start out, we're going to take that larger piece of paper and we're going to set it aside. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start out with the letters. So we're going to set everything else aside except for the letters and a little piece of paper for the center sentiment. So we're going to work on first. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and feel the edges, and if there's a rougher side, so this has a little bit rougher side, I'm going to make that the underside, and I'm going to go ahead and glue this on to the yellow base. And I'm just sliding the glue on. Normally I use a piece of scratch paper underneath. If you have one, you should do it. If not, just be very careful. I'm going to go ahead and put it centered. The nice thing about glue is that you can do a little bit of moving things around. It's only a 1/16 of an inch that you're going to be putting it for centering. So it's about 1/16 of an inch here. Maybe I might have to, okay. And then I'm pushing it out, and there you go, done. Next step is to actually put the things dad on. And before I do anything, any kind of gluing, I kind of arrange it. And I'm going to do the dad first, mainly because it's only 3 letters long and it is nice and large. So the first letter I'm actually going to glue on is the A, because it's going to be centered. This is about the center. And this is where my scratch paper will come in handy. Again, I am feeling the edges. That side's a little rougher, so that'll be the side I'm going to put the glue on. And again, in this case, I'm going to dab the glue so that it just stays on this surface. And notice that I'm actually putting it down in a different area because I don't want glue on the right side. Here we go. You see a little bit of stringiness here from the glue. So there's my A, and I'm going to put it right about the center. If it's a little bit off, it's okay. Not gonna kill you if it's off. And I put it like in the lower half of this paper as well. And let's go ahead and put the D. Again, that's the rough side, and I put it in a different spot on my scratch paper. Again, so that the glue does not, that's already on the scratch paper, doesn't go onto the right side of my letter D. And I'm looking at the bottom and aligning it up. And I'm looking at this side to make sure I'm parallel to that. Oops. Oops. Here we go again. This one, I'll put a finger on it. So that's the D, A, and then if I look at it, it's a little bit crooked. Let me see if I can move it. I can move it. Yay. Okay. Now it's straighter. D, A. And then I'm going to do the last D. Again. Oops, see, there's some glue. Some strings of glue on this side. I'm going to try to wipe it off. Finger has glue on it, so be careful. And here's my last D. Parallel a little bit. So I'm going to lower it down a little bit. I didn't actually press it down yet because I kind of want to be still reposition it. So if I look here, it's a little bit tilted. I'm going to tilt it back. That was a gentle tap, so I can see that it lines up. Looks good. Now I'm going to press it down. Done. D-A-D. Now, the hard part is the little letters above it, the things. So let's make sure we spell it out in the order it should be. Oh my goodness, my finger. So my S is a little bit fuzzy at the tip, so I'm gonna snip off a tiny little bit here so I can have a clean edge. So yeah, the machine that I use to cut these letters off, it doesn't always do a good job at cutting clean lines. So sometimes you have to just do a little cutting. For the most part, it's okay. Thanks. Now, if you want to, you can be creative. You don't have to make it a straight line like I do. You can make it crooked, you know, kind of whimsical. Or you can make a letter backwards. You know, maybe you want to put your A backward. You could do that too. For me, I'm just gonna make it simple. So why are we doing this first? We want to do this first because spatially we wanted to give it room so that we have an idea of where each letter will go and how it will look at the end. If we don't do this first and just kind of randomly do it as we go along, sometimes we might end up with it running out of room or off center or whatever. So there's my thanks, and I think it looks pretty cool. I like it. So I'm just gonna start with the T, and I'm gonna leave everything else on there because they're gonna stay. I'm gonna flip it over, remember to flip it over, and then put glue on it. And it's a little tricky because it's so tiny. It's gonna be a little bit hard to try to keep your hands from getting glue, but try your best. Oops. And if you have to, just wipe your fingers in between. I'm using my middle finger here because I have glue on my index finger and my thumb. Now, I might have to rearrange it, and it's good to rearrange and make sure you have the correct spacing. Okay, now let's go with H. So yeah, this card has a lot of little pieces and a lot of practice spacing things out. So that looks good. Here's my A. Oops, I almost forgot to flip it over. But like I said, you know, if you accidentally forgot to flip it over and have glue on the wrong side, then you can have a creative card that has a backward letter. Alrighty. Oops. I keep this here to make sure I have the correct spacing. My N, flipping it over. Oof. Here's my N. Let's see how it looks so far. I want to make sure I'm not off center. K. Backwards, K. Oops, a little bit of glue got on the wrong good side. Okay. And then S, backward S, put glue on it, flip it over to the right side, and brushing off a couple extra. There's my S. Done. So thanks, Dad. Close enough. It's not perfectly straight, but that's okay. That's what makes it handmade. So now that we have this done, we're going to put that aside and we're going to work on the pattern edge. We're going to take the smaller of the two pieces of paper. you can see this one is bigger. So let's put the smaller one aside. And what we're gonna do is we are going to arrange all these flags. You can arrange it whichever way you want. In this card, I had several of the same colors, patterns. Maybe this one I won't put any red. Maybe I'll just do blues and black and white. I don't know. And you have a couple of extra ones, so over the edges, you can lay them so that they go over the edge. But right now, we're just gonna play with arranging them side by side. I'm not sure if this is how I want it. I'm just checking it out. So this is where mine is just all blue, and then if I put this on top, it would look like that. Now, maybe I don't like this and I want to put some color into it. I want to add red. I could do this. Maybe I like this better. Ooh, there's this pretty flower one. Gray. Red stripe. This one I'll keep like this. I think at the end of the day, I like the red. So I'm gonna go like that. And then this one, maybe I'll just flip it over. Like so. So if you look at this, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 full cards on here. Okay. Actually, there's only 5. I should move it. There should only be 5, not 6, because it's already over the edge. So there's only 5 full cards here. So one of them, this one right here, or one side, 1, 2, 3 has 3. I'm gonna start with that centerpiece first. And the reason why I'm starting with the centerpiece is so that I can have everything centered at the end. See, if you look at this card, right here, this is centered, so then that way the cards on either side, you know, there's a balance. I mean, it's not completely centered, but centered enough. See what I mean? All right, so let's go ahead. Now, you had spent all that time arranging the colors, so don't lose that order. Just kind of move it aside a little bit to both sides, and just leave those there, and we'll work on the first one. And the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna put glue on the center tag, and this one you can slide, and then we're going to put it on. And you might want a piece of scratch paper underneath. You don't have to line this edge all the way perfectly. Okay, I'm off center, but the important thing is that you have this tip about a 1/16 of an inch from the edge, and this end has to be over the edge. You can always cut extra, but that's how we're going to do it. Okay, because if you look at this closely, you will see that the tip right here is just shy of the edge. That's a 1/16. Okay, so I did one. So now that you have the first one fairly centered, it doesn't, like I said, it's not perfectly centered. Fairly centered is good enough. Then I can go on to my next one, and I believe my next one was this one, right? Was it this one? I don't remember anymore. Okay, well, let's do this one. It's okay. It's a little bit off. Okay, so I'm going to flip it over, and then you can do the same thing with your second one. And then the key to putting this on now is to make sure that it's parallel. That line, this gap right here is parallel, and you have a little bit off the edge. I mean, the tip is just shy of the edge, and then this side is flush or goes over, either one. And we move on to my next one. We're just going to keep going until we get all the full pieces. So you can go ahead and do that while I do this. And like for me, there it is, parallel, a little bit over. Okay, then I'm going to go to the other side. This side we're going to do last. Go to this side, and I'm going to use my black stripe. I put over the gray. Okay. Make sure it's parallel here. I want the spacing to be about the same as the other ones. There you go. And then I'm going to go, I believe this was the next one. Actually, I kind of like this pattern right here. Oof, maybe too much. I think I'll use this pattern then. I can see. Kind of made changes as I went along, and that's a-okay. You change your mind. It's all good. It's all good. It's a process. Thank goodness we have, oops. Okay, there we go. Yeah, this one sticks out a little bit. That's okay. We're gonna get rid of that at the end. Okay. Now, we have a little bit of white here and a little bit of white here. So all you need to do, you should have some extra. And you just pick one of these guys that you like. I'm going to pick this one. And I'm going to put it on this side. Yep. So I'm going to put glue. I don't have to put glue on the whole thing. I'm just going to put glue on half of it. Just enough. So that I'm going to use the scratch paper now. So that I can have the part that's on the paper stuck on. And here we go. Flush in the edge. Oops. I can see that it's a little bit wider on one side. There we go. And then I will take it to the other side. And here I'm going to use this blue one. Let me flip it over again and see where I need to put my glue. You might put my glue on this side. So here we go. That's the half. And then flush on that end. Done. That was easy, huh? I kind of stuck in the scratch paper, but that's okay. I'm gonna flip it over. I'm gonna kind of let it dry a little bit. I'm gonna blow on it to let the glue dry. And the reason is because now I'm going to cut all the parts that's extra off. Now you have a paper cutting machine, you can use that too. Or you can use a pair of scissors. And I'm cutting off all the edges. Oops. Yep, this is where a paper cutter might be helpful because then you can just do one clean straight cut. But that's okay. We use what we have, so whatever you have. And you're almost done with the card at this point, which is really cool. So there we go. We have our pattern paper. Now we are gonna go and grab our card, our yellow card. Okay, and you should have a little frame. What we're going to do is we're going to glue this frame onto this card, and then we're going to glue this pattern on top of it, and we're going to center it. And as you can see, you're going to center about 1/8 of an inch on the yellow and 1/8 of an inch on the inside as well. So let's start out by putting glue on the frame. So here's my scratch piece of paper with a lot of scraps on it already. This side has a little bit of a sharp edge sticking up. That's the part I'm going to put my glue on. And I'm going to just glide the glue on. I'm going to try not to move this paper because I don't want any glue to go underneath it and transfer to the front of the frame. I have some extra glue over here inside the frame, but it's okay. It's on the scratch paper. Yay. And also, it's going to get covered up if any of it comes over. Okay, so I'm just going to put my finger here. Good enough. It's not completely centered, but I'm okay with that. There we go. And then there's some glue on the inside edge here, but that's okay. I don't mind. So with this one, what we're going to do is we're going to put glue on the very edge. I'm going to try to find a spot on this scratch paper that doesn't have glue on the bottom side. I'm going to put glue on the very edge. and then some in the center. Okay. Flip it over and then put it right centered. And I'm probably gonna do my pivoting right there. That looks good. Press across. Now I see that there's a little bit of glue here. I'm gonna use my scratch piece of paper and just put it on top so I can, that way I don't get my finger on it. I don't smear the glue everywhere. I just press the paper down with, instead of using my fingers. And I kind of move the paper around to get to a clean spot. Okay, so now I have my card. It looks great. We're gonna put this on. We're gonna use our glue dots to do it. Kind of figure out where you're gonna put it first. You know, maybe you want it centered, maybe you want it in a corner, maybe you want another corner. You know, wherever you want. There's no right way to this. This is all aesthetics. And we are going to use these glue dots at the corners. Just lift a little plastic square and throw it on. There we go. Then I'm going, for me, I think with this one, I will put it, I don't know, I'll just center it. Done. There it is. And the second thing left to do is put our piece of paper on the inside so that you can write a sentiment to the man or the dad that you want to write this card to. Now, let's say, I should mention this, you didn't want to make a card that says, "Thanks, Dad." Maybe you just want a card that says, "Thanks." You can get rid of the dad and just move the things to the center. Okay? So this doesn't have to be specific to Father's Day. And there you have it. Again, this is made using the Designer Series paper from Stampin'. It's called Well Suited, I believe. And I think it's available to the end of June or something. I hope you guys enjoy it, and I hope you guys get to write a note of appreciation to the dad that this card is intended for. Okay, have a good day.